I've been training in the gym for 12 years, right?
Yeah.
It's probably longer than that, 14 years now, 14 years. And every year I change what I want to achieve in the gym. So some years I want to be bigger, some years I want to... There's one year I wanted to get 16 stone, I got to 16 stone. There's one year I wanted to cut down and do a Tough Mudder and do that. One year I wanted to cut. Every year in January I say, what do I want to achieve this year?
Yeah.
So this year I want bigger legs, so I'm going to go all out to get bigger legs. I'm competing against myself. There's no one else out there. There might be people out there that externally are like, okay, he's got those legs, or like Ben's done for like 550. How can I catch Ben? But I'm not competing directly against Ben. I'm
just setting yourself your own milestone.
By using Ben as an external milestone to try and try and achieve.
Drawing inspiration
from
I just want to win.
Yeah.
I'll be simple. I'll be straight to the point. I just want to win. Yeah. Like, and I say it like that. Whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna win it. Like, even if I'm not winning right now, I'm gonna win in the long run. Because I'm just going to stay persistent and keep going. And I'm always trying to better myself, as opposed to, I see people out there as a competition, but as long as I'm always driving to be better, I know I'm going to beat them in the long run. As long as I don't give up on trying to get better, I'm going to beat them in the long run, right? And the funny thing is you see it in sports a lot, because sports is televised. But you can see it in any industry or environment, right? So I can go and sit in any corporate environment, give me a week in a business, and just sit me in an office. And then come to the end of the week and say, right, can you tell us who the winners and losers are? Yes, you will always be able to easily dictate and see who the winners are. The winners are the people who, when your job is 9 to 5, who come into the office from 8 till 6. And then when they're home, they're working on stuff outside of that. The winners are the ones who aren't there for obligation, but are there for bettering themselves, right? Versus the ones who turn up, right, they've got a 9 to 5, they turn up at 8:59. They leave at 5 o'clock on the dot. They just check out. What they do in the day is what they're paid to do. They don't do anything over and above that, right?
But could that also be that they don't necessarily want to win in that space?
Doesn't make any difference. Well, I would argue no, because excellence is a habit, right? You can't switch it on and off. You either go all in. And I think there was one where there was a talk that Les Brown did before, and he was like, there was a boss that he didn't like that he was working for, and it's a funny sketch that he did. It wasn't a sketch, it was a talk about the piece of the talk that he did. He was like, my boss is so stupid, and his wife was like, if he's so stupid, why is he signing off your paychecks? And then he was like, you can see why I divorced her now. But he was like, I thought that I was cheating my boss, but I was cheating myself. Yeah. So wherever you are, even if you're not happy in what you're doing there, and there's something that you want to pursue on the outside, that desire to want to win in any space transposes itself outside of that to everything that you do. Yeah. So it's not something that you switch on and off. Even if you're not where you want to be, even if you're in a profession that you're saying, this isn't for me, do you know what? This isn't exactly what I want to do, but I'm going to cultivate the habit of winning in this space so that when I move out of this space, I've got that mentality of a winner. So even if you're not in the right space, winners win. At the end of the day, winners win, and that's because they've created that mindset. Whether you like where you are or not, you have decided, this might not be my space, but while I'm here, I'm for damn sure going to be the best out of everybody else.
Then the argument would be it's the balance of, like what he was saying. If you don't actually like what you're doing, and then you want to work on your thing outside, if you're giving yourself 8 till 6, 8 till 7, or 7 till 7, when you go home, then when you have the time to work, when do you have the real time to invest in yourself? It's that balance.
And this is why I wanted. I don't know how this came, but I wanted to discuss this today as well, because it was sort of not an internal battle, it's something I was thinking about overnight and yesterday, because I read Grant Cardone's book recently, Be Obsessed or Be Average, and he specifically touches on this in the book as well. He was at a point where in his life where he was a car salesman and he never enjoyed it, and he was always rubbish. But then he decided to say, you know what, I don't enjoy it, but I'm gonna dominate this space. And he started to read a lot of sales books and stuff, and then he became a monster at this job that he didn't like doing. Yeah. And then it started to make me think, maybe you should apply yourself in exactly what you were saying.
And I haven't read that book. Every so often I just come up with some puzzles.
But exactly what you just said, dominate that space. If you're in it, then you might as well make it work. Do you know what I mean?
And what I would say, counting what you're saying, is if you want to do... So again, even if there is somebody you sit down and you go and see somebody, they're doing a 9 to 5. But they may, even when they come in at a 9 to 5, what they're giving whilst they're there is beating out the competition. They're not there just to do what they're paid for. They're working efficiently. They're working over and beyond. They're delivering results. They are smashing it every single minute of the day, every day of the week, every week of the year, right? And then they go out and they do their side hustle outside of that. They've created that space to work on what they're doing because they give so much and they work efficiently in their 9 to 5. So why? I don't like this, but I know I need to allocate this time out to do this and this time out to do this. And whilst I'm here, I'm going to give everything. And then I've created that winning state. So whether I'm in the office or whether I'm at home working on my side hustle, I am just habitually aiming for excellence. I'm like I say, winners win. And that's what they've created in their mind.
Because sometimes you think, when you talk about successful people and competitive people, they always talk to you about little things that you shouldn't be competitive, but they are competitive at. Like, for example, Gary Vee, he's saying if he's playing basketball with his daughter, he's not going to let his daughter score and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Just little things.
Principles.
Yeah, just little things that you always be. I met up with my cousin earlier on this week, and then it just brought me back to some times, and I've always been competitive, and I just was thinking of times when we was younger, and I'm like their big cousin, and they were like really young, and was playing a computer game, and I just used to just beat all the younger cousins, and I remember my uncle coming up once because they were crying and stuff, and you beat me, and he would come up and he'll be like, "No, you're the bigger cousin. You should let them win." And I just was never like that. I always wanted to.
So I was having a conversation. I was at my sister's birthday, and they were arguing about who's the most competitive. And actually, when I was growing up, I used to be like that, win at everything. And then I was like, no, I think you have become a bit more competitive. And they're like, really? Like, more than you? And I was like, well, the bottom line is, like, if I lose, well, I don't lose. I win or I let you win. Like, I might let you win because it makes you feel better about yourself, but I win or I let you win. Like, I'm not losing because even if I get knocked down, I'm coming back to win again. Like, and again, it's just...
Yeah, but you can't win all games. There might be some games you ain't going to win.
I might lose on the way to getting a win. Like,
he's like one of the people, like my friend Eugene, when I used to play him on pro back in the day. You beat him. You want to leave his house until you win.
Until you win.
You want to leave his house until you win because his way of thinking is it doesn't matter how many times you beat me. The last result counts.
Yeah.
And then Dave's like, "Bro, I've got to go home." No, you're not losing. You're not leaving until I beat you. You literally can't win every game. There's always going to be someone better than you at the game. But eventually, if you keep on, I'm a bit with Gary Vee. I'm a bit like with Joe Rogan. There's a way of encouraging someone without and beating them without discouraging them at all. There's been times I've played computer games and someone comes on, they never played it before, and I just thrash them, and then they don't want to play again. So what I have to do is I take it easy on them, so then they get better at the game. It gives me more competition. I get better at it because they're giving me more competition, and I'm not discouraging them from actually picking up the ball.
I'm more back with the Gary Vee side because it goes back to what we was talking about, getting 8th place trophies and everything like that. And when you're playing, and I remember playing FIFA back in the day, and I played it on like intermediate or expert or whatever. And when you first start, you get battered. But I had the determination that I want to get better at it, so I'll keep playing it, and then eventually I'll get better. The computer didn't just decide to say, "Oh, I'm going to be easy." I'm not saying
you let the person win. I'm saying you win, but you don't discourage them from like.
But I would say there's a different way around it. Even Gary Vee, when you can guarantee that if you look into how he runs his business, then you will find it's not about the not beating somebody. It's about explaining to them why you're beating us so bad. I beat you 10-0 because I can beat you 10-0. Why didn't I only beat you 5-0? Why didn't I only beat you 2-0? Because I can beat you 10-0. Do you know what I want you to learn from that? Is that I'm stretching you. I believe that you're capable of beating me, but I'm gonna stretch you to make you get there. I'm not gonna give you a false sense and make you think. And you see somebody, and let's say out of sports, you see somebody who's in an industry and they're at the top of their industry, and then you go head to head with them and you nearly finish against them because they've let you. That's like you thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm really good. I'm really nearly there." When what they should be doing is beating your ass down, so you know exactly where you are, but then explaining to you what I'm trying to do here is explain to you where you are now is a long way from where you need to be, and this is what you need to do to get there. So let's go through this every day. Let's go through this every week, and every time that we play, I need you to be getting here, and here. Because the best, and this goes kind of down to mentorship and leadership and bosses. The best bosses and the best management and the best leadership will see somebody's potential, but will stretch them to get there. Will not see their potential and then wrap them up in cotton wool and say, "Oh yeah, you could be good, but I don't want you to lose." Because then that might discourage you. What they say is, "I see your potential, but you're raw right now. It's like when we're talking about becoming a diamond, you need to get cut and brought down to earth to say, this is how far you are from where you need to be, but I'm going to stretch you to get there. Because if you don't do that, and you just wrap them in cotton wool and kind of beat them, you're setting them on a path to mediocrity, just like straight.
I remember when I was in sixth form, and I was at badminton, I was dominant. When I say I was dominant, I would beat the teacher who was meant to be teaching us. And my dad's really good at badminton, and that's probably why I used to like playing badminton. So I thought, I can challenge my dad now. So me and my dad went to badminton, and we played a few games, and I didn't win 1 point. Not even a game, I didn't win 1 point. Now this is me, and when I say I was beating everybody in my year and the teachers, and he could have easily been like, you know what, let me let him win a point at least. He just thrashed me. And then that made me think to myself, exactly what you're saying, you know what, I'm not up. It brought me back down. Yeah. I'm not up there. So then I started practicing a lot more and everything.
But sometimes to know how actually good you are, you have to come out of your comfort zone, the people that you're around, so you can challenge yourself outside of your comfort zone. Because when I was at school, I was one of the fastest people in my year, not in school, but in my year. Yeah. So when we went to, when we did 100 metres, I won my 100 metres easily. Yeah. I won my 200 metre race, not knowing it was a 200 metre race, because when I ran it 100, first 100 metre, and the guy goes, no, you'll keep going round. I was like, what? And I was still in the lead, and I paused, and still won the race at Cantor. But then when I went our first race outside of our school, we got destroyed.
Serious?
We got destroyed. Like the first 100 metres, we were in the lead. All three of us, probably the fastest guys in our year. They just ran past us, they just went round. The same nations, I remember, they had on a running track, and they just went round us and went past us. It's like, oh, we're not that fast. Really, you have to get better. And that's how you, because we now know where the standards are, we thought we were all the best, we're not actually that great, and we have to improve. And I think that helps you.
Yeah, it does, man, it does. Because, and another example was when, like, from primary school, playing football, I was of a certain level, and as soon as you go to secondary school, and then you go to your football trials, and then I'm thinking, I'm going to walk this, and you look around and you're like, wow, there's another level out there that you need to step up. And I just think that if you then go through that process of making it easy for people, they're then going to go through life thinking that certain things are easy, and they're never going to be able to, or when they face challenges, they're not going to be able to handle it in the right way. So I think that's going to be my way of bringing up my daughter anyway.
You have to have it, right? Because you have to accept that you're going to lose. Like you're going to lose at some point along the way. Unless you live a life so comfortable that you've never taken a risk, then you're going to lose at some point. Regardless of what you can learn from your failures, take that out of the window. I'm not saying, because you can learn a whole lot from just winning all the time, right? Yeah. But at some point, to be the best of the best, you are going to lose along the way, right? So when you see businesses that blow up or a career that blows up, that people have fallen on their face multiple times, right? Yeah. Not every day that you're pursuing whatever your passion is in life, whatever your career goals are, is going to be a winning day. It's just as simple as that. But you need to start embracing that and getting yourself prepared for the loss and accepting that the loss is part of getting you to that top level of where you need to be. Yeah. Like I say, the top level is because you, and it was interesting, I see a Gary Vee post pop up on Facebook this morning, and I couldn't have put it better, in that he said, you guys, and we're not talking about the people who want to just have that family life and the rest of it, you're cool with that. But everybody who wants to have the cars and the nice houses and the rest of it, you're trying to live up there in that 1%. Yeah. You've got the audacity to want to live in that 1%, but you're not putting the work in to do it. So when you go back to earlier, you've got your day job that you're doing, but then you've got your work you're doing on the outside. You're living kind of, I'm going to put in 1 hour a day doing that. And he referenced to, like I get The Walking Dead, he always hits House of Cards. He's like, what are you doing with your extra 3 hours? You're watching House of Cards. Like, I'm like, you're watching some form of TV. But you're saying, I want it all. I want the big, successful life, right? This is for those people specifically saying that. But I'm not ready to put in the work that backs it up. And when I lose, I'm going to give up. I'm not willing to face the hard times in order to get to the good times, right? And if you're going to get to the top of the top of the top, the reason that you need to stay in that competitive state of mind is because everybody else out there, 99% of the population is trying to do the same thing. Yeah, if I take out the subset and say there's 40% of people who are only looking for the family life, and then just to say there's the rest of them, you're taking on a 59% range. And you're saying that you don't have the time to put in. So yes, let's say you're sleeping 6 hours a day and you're going to work for 7.5, 8 hours a day. What are you doing with the rest of your time? If you're resting and saying, oh, but I've exerted so much energy, I need my downtime, fine. I'm cool with that. I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying is you're not going to hit the 1% if that's what you're doing. That's what for the other 50% of people are doing. To be in the 1%, you need to stretch outside of that.
But then I think with time also is that if you're working a 9 to 5 and then you're doing the 8 to 7 stuff, that sometimes when your own time and work time will cross over. Like you can't do networking events. Networking events are normally done at certain times. If you want to stay late at work, and you can't go to networking events. So it doesn't matter how hard you want to work after the 8 hours. You could work, but then there's key times that you might have to sacrifice that 9 to 5 for your own work. So I think it's finding that balance, because if you waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, if you want to, and working at 4 o'clock in the morning, but then if you want to have meetings, most people aren't awake at 4 o'clock in the morning. So what I'm trying to say is, like, it's just finding that balance.
I would say it's finding the equation that works for you. So your job right now, let's say you simply cannot generate what you want to do on the side and make it your primary with the job that you've got at the moment. So is it worthwhile looking for a job that has less hours and accommodates more? Yes, you might take a hit on your wages, but it allows you more time on the side, right? Yeah. So it's looking for whatever the right balance is.
Yeah,
is
that's
to go
what
there.
I'm saying.
But I don't mean just taking the balance of the job you're in at the moment. It might mean that the answer to that equation is I need to look for a job that allows more flexibility.
But that's the thing. That's Steve Harvey's jumping. You're gonna have to eventually. You're gonna have to jump out of your comfort zone. If you're working 9 to 5, if you're working a 9 to 5, doesn't allow you to do that. You have to jump and say, okay, maybe I cut a day down off my work, my 9 to 5, and I work 4 days a week instead of working 5 days a week. So I can focus on one day to focus on do 24 hours to do whatever I want to do in that week, or find another, like you said, find another job which might have cut down in hours, cut down your wages, but lets you focus on what you want to do.
Again, it all depends. And I know I keep saying this, but financial. If you have got a family and stuff, it's sometimes not as easy as that. You got to find a way around it. I know that.
What I say, like, yeah. If you have those things, it'll take you a little bit longer to get there, but you will get there.
You will get there.
What needs to be clear though is, right, what you're working on the side that you see as your passion or whatever you want to do is a big thing. People are doing that as their day jobs. So to be absolutely blunt about it, if you've only got 4 hours to attribute to that, you need to find a hack. You need to find a way to work so efficiently that you are compensating for the 10 hours a day people are being able to put in for that, because that's their day job. So this is what I mean about you've got to be ready to just go all in, because you've got the audacity to say, I want to be in that 1%. And I completely get what you're saying, and I know I come across blunt when I say some of this stuff some of the time. But if you want to be at the top of the top, then you need to put everything into what you're doing. You need to sacrifice time that you want to maybe spend with friends. If you've got family, that's more difficult, because spending less time with friends is different. It is different to spending less time with your family. But that goes back to when we've spoken before about having strong support behind you. So having a wife who's kind of ready to support you, or a husband if you're a woman, who's ready to support what you're about to go through. You both, because you're both going to go into that journey together. One of you may be going on it, but she may have to do some work to support you with it. She's going to definitely have to show some patience and go through the frustrations with you, right? But that's the thing. What I'm saying is, whatever you're working on the outside, remember, your competition has actually got more time to focus on this than you have.
Of course.
So you need to be straight coming up with the hacks and the most efficient ways to go about it. You need to be on the lookout, right, what can I outsource so that actually I'm only working on this for 4 hours, but overall business idea is being worked on for 10 hours because I'm outsourcing 6 hours of that to someone else. What can I do to disrupt the industry, so to speak, and disrupt the game? Right, everybody else is doing this, I'm going to start doing this. Right, because the people who take things to the next level don't believe in just following the best practices. They make the best. They lead and other people follow, right? They stop looking at, right, what is everybody else doing? And to be honest, I was reading this when I was reading the book Super Bosses, right? They were like, the best bosses focus on the solution. They don't focus on the best practice. Because when you just follow the best practices out there, one, you're doing what everybody else is doing. Yeah. So the only way you can naturally be better than them is through straight hard work. When you start focusing on the solution, you start looking for the most efficient way to get there. Forget the best practices, you look for the most efficient way to the top, right? And so what happens is you set a new, more efficient way of working, and then everybody else starts to notice the results you're getting, and they start to say, "Oh, we should build that into the best practice." They're building that into their best practice. You're on the next level of innovation, right? They're creating their best practices. You are the one leading the way. They are creating models to work the way that you worked to be on top of it. But you're always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of the game. Like, you need to focus on that solution and being efficient, as opposed to, right, this is what everybody else is doing. Because when you're focusing on what everybody else is doing, the only way to beat them is through straight work. And it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose when it comes down to it, it's all excuses really at the end of the day, isn't it? That you got to find a way, around it.
Well, it's if you want to win, then you have to have a winner's mentality. If you want to win, you have to know that.
Find a way.
You see what I mean? You have to believe that. Let's think of Bayern Munich, Man United, Champions League. Game's over, but like they didn't believe the game was over. Everybody else, you look at it, minutes to go, this game's done. We don't believe the game is done because winners want to win no matter what.
Yeah, I know.
So, is that